it's hard for you to clearly see just how you're gonna keep it together. Your obligations and responsibility, how you gonna meet them here? Much more than this. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the lifeline of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You've been so good. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the red, you're the one, the word. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? The light of the oh yes you are, oh yes you are. I know sometimes it's hard to hold your head up high and show the world you're not together together. You think of things that make you wanna run and hide. Who will love you and baby? Who could you trust to understand? Now let's see the truth of it. You are much, much more than this. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the lifeline of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? There's no haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the red, you're the wine, the word. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the light of the universe. You're not the things you have done. You're not the words that you said, or the heartache that you're going through. Oh, you are the bright of the sun. You are the flower, and in your presence, the things that seem hard fade away. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the lifeline of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? There's no haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the red, you're the one, the word. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? The light of the universe. You're the light of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? There's no haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? You're the red, you're the wine, the word. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard? The light of the universe. You're the lifeline of the world. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard?
May our hearts be open.
Good morning and welcome to our celebration. Will you join me and turn within? It is with a heart full of gratitude and a mind full of knowing that this is the sacred space, that this is a holy space, and that this is where the divine is in you, in me, and us. And as we move through this service, this celebration, this sacred space, we know that all things are working together for our good, that all on our prayer list are embodying their divine health, and those in need of comfort are kept in the sweet arms of the divine. Each and every aspect of this service is blessed and a blessing and a special surrounding of love and light for our guest speaker today. Let all that is done be done for the highest of everyone involved in this special time. And so it is. Thank you and have a beautiful day.
Here we go. Surprise.
There we go. It's so exciting.
Above my head, I hear music in the air. Above my head, there's a melody so bright, and there I can hear when I'm all alone. Even in those times when I feel all hope is gone. Above my head, I hear joy bells ringing. Above my head, I hear angels singing. I know God is
Oh, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. Good morning and welcome to our Heartstream for this Sunday, July the 24th, 2022. I am so glad that you have joined us today. What a great day, what a great opportunity to once again get the message of Open Heart out in our Heartstream. Thank you for joining us. Today is indeed a special day. We have our guest speaker, Robert Burress, Reverend Robert Burress, who's going to be speaking today. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to share Robert with you. I know that when I posted on Facebook that he was going to be the speaker, it seemed to generate some excitement from people who are friends and family and followers of his. So it is indeed a great day. I'm truly appreciative for Robert agreeing to be our speaker. As always, I thank you for your support and ask that you would continue to give your support to Open Heart. And in the announcements, you see the ways in which you can give. And you can always go to our website, ohsc901.com, and click on the Give tab, and it will take you there where you can make contributions. And also, we accept contributions through Cash App. And it's just a wonderful opportunity for you to continue to support Open Heart. We want to always remember those persons who are on our prayer list and continue to do so. I know that daily our prayer team, those persons who lead the prayer calls, are always remembering the persons on our list. And even beyond that, I take time to just get quiet and to, as Joel Goldsmith would say, I will be with the Christ. When someone asked him, he got so many prayer requests from people, and it said, how do you remember all those things? How do you remember to pray for all of those people? And he said, what I do is just I take time to be with the Christ, to be with the presence of God, to just really ultimately acknowledge it within yourself. And as you do so, the energy, the vibration, and everything else that is created in that moment reverberates outward, and it touches those lives of people who have made their requests of you and beyond. Also, I just wanted to say a quick word too. I had a conversation with Dr. Charles Oliver the other day, and he sends his love to each and every one of you. And he's grateful for the people who reached out to him on his birthday, and he's continued to do well, enjoying being retired. So with that, as I always do on Sunday mornings when we gather together, you know it, I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you. Our purpose statement. Our purpose is to create a spiritual community which recognizes that there is one presence and one power in the universe, God. Daily, we actively practice this spiritual truth. We open our heart space to each person to acknowledge one another as expressions of God. It is in each other that we see God.
Our affirmation for the month of July: poise and power. My reliance upon the presence of God gives me poise and power. My relationship with God cannot vary because I am in God and God is in me. Nothing can disturb this relationship. I maintain perfect equilibrium. Regardless of storms around me or opinions of others, the presence of God keeps me stabilized. And so it is. And this is a treatment by Robert H. Bitzer.
Today's affirmative reading comes from Catherine Ponder's book, Open Your Mind to Prosperity. What I did was paraphrase it a little bit to make it more relevant to me in today's time, but here goes. I clearly see that nothing and no one can stand between me and my own. Everything and everyone in the universe supports my vision. I dissolve in my own mind and in the minds of all others any idea that my own can be withheld from me. That which is for my highest good now comes to me, and in my clear perception of truth, I welcome it. Nothing can oppose my good. No one can oppose my good. I now accomplish great things with ease. I want to say that part again. I now accomplish great things with ease. Refusing to criticize another's prosperity, I turn within, ask direction, and I am prospered. Love envies not. The prospering truth now sets me free. My life is boundless. My life is boundless. My financial income is infinite. I am free. I am rich in mind and manifestation now. I face the future wise, free, and unafraid. And so it is.
Hey, 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 here come the announcements. This is a reminder for those who are in our New Thought Metaphysics Lab class that we will meet this Wednesday at 6:30. We are on Experiment 2, and we will be discussing that. Hope to see you then. Open Heart welcomes Robert Burress as our guest speaker on Sunday, July the 24th. You might remember him from attending and even speaking at Open Heart in the past. Robert, a former pastor in the CME Church who embraced New Thought principles, left Memphis to work on his PhD, but he stayed connected and followed us on our Heartstream, and we look forward to hearing him again on the 24th. Our own Villa Willis is sharing her gifts through a class, Tools for Mindful Living with Manasseh, at Out Memphis, beginning this Wednesday, July the 27th through September the 7th. Out Memphis is located at 892 South Cooper, and we are proud of Villa and her sharing her gifts. Our second Wine and Words for the month of July will be this Thursday, July the 28th at 6:30 p.m. You can go to our website, ohsc901.com, and find the link there. Our facilitator, Krista Wright Thayer, does a fantastic job. She and her husband, Matthew, bring us some really thought-provoking and interesting quotes, and we have had some really dynamic conversations, and we hope you will join us. You hear me announce our daily affirmative prayer call. Well, we're coming up on 4 years. That's right, 4 years of a daily call at 8 a.m. Central Time. And it would not be possible without an amazing team. All of these individuals either currently lead or have led a call. And without them, we couldn't do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for leading us in prayer.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day. Today is a day like no other day. Just think and you'll know that it's true. Days like today should be holidays. So I'm singing this message to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day.
At Open Heart, we absolutely believe in the power of affirmative prayer. We hold a space for these persons you see named here. We see you. We see you whole. We see you strengthened and encouraged. We see you recognizing the infinite within that animates and gives life to you and sustains you through all circumstances. And so it is. I'm always grateful to those who provide an affirmative reading. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And this is your opportunity to submit a video to Jay Gilmore at Openheartspiritual.org. Our daily affirmative prayer call takes place each and every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Dial in as one of our prayer team members shares an inspirational reading and then prays for you, all in about 7 minutes. As always, we're thankful for your gifts. There are 3 ways to give: through our Cash App, to give online at our website, or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292. Infinite prosperity is mine to share. I am blessed, and we hope that you will continue to share in your prosperity with Open Heart. Here's another easy way to support Open Heart. With Amazon Smile. With Amazon Smile, you'll find the same Amazon dashboard, order, and browsing history you currently use. Nothing changes, except a donation is made to Open Heart with each eligible purchase. You see, Amazon will donate 0.5% of the price of your eligible Amazon Smile purchase to Open Heart whenever you shop. You can go to our website and you can click on the banner that's there, and it'll take you to Amazon. You can go to Amazon and go to Smile and give you a tip. We're listed as Open Heart Community of Faith Ministries and Church because that is our official name when we signed up through Smile. And you can even do this. I do this. You can add the Amazon Smile extension to your browser if you use Google Chrome. And then all you have to do is click on that and it will take you completely into the portal and you're able to support Open Heart. But it's an opportunity for you, if you already shop at Amazon, to support Open Heart and what you're doing, and we appreciate it.
still some cry along the way.
Walking through the sadness,
For a world that needs to know
love can take us higher. Reveal the way to greater love.
Oh yeah. So the truth keeps telling me
Love's the only answer.
and to all humanity
We can stay inspired. Reveal the way to greater love.
so
We let it,
wash over us.
we let it,
Make us kinder.
we let it,
Make us better.
we let it be. We let it,
Early in the morning.
we let it,
Hold us together.
we let it,
Now and forever.
we let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the dawn wash over us. We let it be. We let the rain wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us.
Oh, we
We let the love wash over us. We let it be.
We let the love wash over us. We let the love, oh, we let it be.
I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me.
I welcome you to the centering moment. Let us just take a moment and be centered in this space. After all that has gone on before, we now come back to center with a heart full of gratitude and a heart open and ready to hear from Spirit. Let us take a moment and take a deep breath in and out. And in this space, in this stillness, in this quietness, we are open, ready, and available to Spirit. And so it is. Blessings.
It gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for this morning. Robert Burress is a first-year PhD student in the Rehabilitation Institute in Counseling and Rehabilitation. He graduated in 2003 with a Bachelor of Arts from Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was a psychology major. He also obtained a Master of Divinity degree right here in Memphis from Memphis Theological Seminary and a Master of Clinical Rehabilitation Counseling in 2017 from the University of Memphis. He has an expected date of graduation of December of 2023. He's worked in the field as a mental health manager, therapist, and mental health consultant in many different areas in the field. He has held graduate assistantship positions with the Evaluation and Development Center in Carbondale, Illinois, and has been a teacher on numerous occasions through his matriculation in grad school. He continues to have a strong zeal for working in the field of rehabilitation with an interest in understanding mental health as it relates to improving the current delivery of services provided to persons with disabilities or PWDs. Robert served as an academic coach through the University of Memphis and has served as a social justice advocate and social worker through the Shelby County Public Defender's Office. Robert knew at an early age that he wanted to be in the helping profession. He loved school from the moment he knew he could excel in doing the work. I love that. Being a counselor and advocate for persons with disabilities, as well as marginalized youth and adults, Robert has continued to advocate and help them be a normal part of society without being stigmatized. He currently works as a graduate level teacher assistant where he's been able to teach street classes, doing things like helping to create the syllabi and PowerPoints and the other duties associated with being a student teacher. Bless you, Robert. As a teacher, professor, we really appreciate our assistants who help us with those kinds of duties and the work they give. He finds his work very rewarding and considers it to be a wonderful experience that will continue to prepare him for all of his future endeavors. He was recently awarded the Prestige Award Dissertation Research Grant, DPA, that will fund his dissertation as he continues on his journey. He's continued to excel in all of his work and has a strong desire and zeal to help others who cannot help themselves. He's continued to inspire others as well as inspire himself to reach above and beyond to achieve all the future aspirations and goals. He served the community in many different capacities, from the church, volunteering, feeding the hungry, sponsoring unfortunate families, and being a mentor to young males. He's always been known to be a person of gratitude and enjoys singing, reading, and spending time with loved ones. He's been fortunate all of his life to have achieved this, given the circumstances of his tumultuous childhood. But what Robert says is that it pushed him to be the man that he is today. He has superseded all that he thought he would achieve in this life and continues to strive to be a better person every day so that he may keep the legacy of his grandmother, who molded him to be the man he is, and to continue to inspire others not to set limits for themselves, but to move beyond those things. And I will say this, that I first met Robert when we were meeting back down on South Main, and Robert started attending Open Heart then. And it was in our conversations that I found out that we have similar backgrounds. Robert also served as a pastor in the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. He pastored in Mississippi, and we got a chance to begin knowing one another. We're also fraternity brothers, proud members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and I was just really glad to just get to know Robert, and Robert has spoken for us at Open Heart a few times, and I was really looking forward to him doing that even more when he called me one day and let me know he was getting ready to go off and pursue his PhD. But through all of this time, even though we might not have seen or heard Robert necessarily, because Robert has that really quiet side, that deep part of him, Robert has been watching the Heartstreams. He's been keeping up with Open Heart, and we've had some great conversations. And I'm just really, really happy today to have him to do the message. So, Robert, knowing who you truly are and seeing you as the expression of God that you are, we know that your word for today is the word for today. Peace and blessings. I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you.
Good morning, Open Heart. Truly, it's a blessing and an honor to be before you all on today. Thank you to your spiritual leader, John Gilmore, to your assistant spiritual leader, Villa Willis, and the other ministers, and to all of you. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be before you all on today. So today, I have been pondering ever since I got the invite to do this. What can I say? What would be encouraging and what would be uplifting to the people of God, and what do they need in this hour? But the one thing I learned is that sometimes you just got to go when it's time to go. So today I am thinking about two words, and those two words are valley experiences. And I know some of you are wondering, well, what does he mean by valley experiences? I often had to remind myself of that growing up in the church, being in the church all the time and hearing them talking about the valley of dry bones and talking about being in a low place and how can you live when you're in a low place or you're at the lowest of the lows? And that's what we called in my church growing up. It was called valley experiences. And then I began to wonder, like, what is a valley? A valley is nothing more than an area that's sometimes shaped like a V, sometimes it's shaped like a U, and it's typically between hills and mountains. And typically a river flows from one end to the other of it. Some would say it's a desolate place. Some would say it's a place rich and fertile and fruitful. And then I began to think in my mind is that valley experiences. So what are valley experiences? And then I began to think, well, maybe David knew something about a valley experiences because he said in Psalms 23:4, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And then we all know David. If anybody knew anything about going through experiences in life and experiencing God and experiencing bad things that happen, it was because we're talking about David. David, a man after God's own heart, who decided to put a man on the front lines and have him killed just because he wanted a woman for herself. Is that a valley experience? Or maybe it was when David defeated Goliath. Maybe that was a valley experience. Maybe it was when Abraham sacrificed his son because God told him to. Maybe that was a valley experience. Maybe when Donald Trump became president, maybe that became a valley experience. Maybe it was when we got our first Black female vice president. Maybe that was a valley experience. Maybe it was when we went through those very things that broke us in our own lives. Maybe that was a valley experience for you. And oftentimes we don't know what those valley experiences are until we've had an opportunity to go through life and experience life for ourselves. Maybe it was that disobedient child that you know you raised right, but they refused to listen to you when you disciplined them and you tried to get them to see things from a positive perspective. Maybe that was your valley experience. Or maybe it was that situation when you went to the doctor and they gave you a diagnosis of cancer and you didn't know if you were going to live or die. Maybe that was your valley experience. Whatever the case may be, we've all had valley experiences in our lives. And as sure as you have lived on this earth, you will experience life. I'm not going to say you that a valley experience is always a bad thing, is because I can tell you things in my own life that have happened to me that I thought was the worst. I thought when I got ready to go to college that I could not afford it and that it was not meant for me to be there. And I remember sitting on the steps at a hotel just wondering, how am I going to get the rest of the money to afford my education? But I want you to know there's always a ram in the bush. It's because whatever it was, it made provision for me to have the opportunity to be able to go to the college that I wanted to go to. And it didn't have to be a bad experience. It was just an experience. And it's just like sometimes when we start to go through life and we start to realize that everything doesn't work the way we expect it to turn out. But I want you to know is that I'm convinced that every now and then we need to experience the valley. We need to be in a low place, not saying that there won't be any vegetation, not saying that there won't be any growth, not saying that you'll be down in there and be depressed and mentally sick to the point that you can't get yourself up. Well, how would you understand a valley experience if you've never had to experience one? So it takes me to a quote by Winston Churchill that said, "Mountaintop experiences inspire leaders, but valley experiences mature them." In other words, you can sometimes be in a high and a lofty place, but being in that high and lofty place does not mean that you will not go through anything. It does not mean you will not experience life. It's because just like when we've seen so many things that happen in our world where people were ostracized and they were criticized for being who they were. And then we had this recent decision where the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the Roe versus Wade decision that says that women can no longer have abortions. Maybe that was your valley experience. Or maybe it was when the Holocaust happened. Maybe that was another valley experience. Or maybe it was when you thought that you had it all together just to realize that you still had some issues. You still had to go through some things in life and that you didn't have it all together. Maybe that was your valley experience. Maybe your valley experience was when your husband left you after 30 years to go live with some other woman. Maybe it was that job that you've been on for 20 years and you've never felt like that you were getting the most out of it is because you weren't treated fairly. Your wages weren't the same as everybody else. Maybe that was your valley experience. But what I come to tell you is that how would you never know what it was like to be hungry if you've never been hungry? Maybe that was your valley experience. How would you know what it's like to be a civil rights leader when you never had to be one, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? What would it be like to lose everything that you have? Maybe you need to ask Job. Maybe that was a valley experience. Well, what if you've never been hungry and without food and homeless on the streets? Maybe you need to ask somebody like Tyler Perry. Maybe he can tell you. Maybe we need to ask R. Kelly. He had to go away for some years, but one of the best R&B artists that lived in the 90s. Maybe that was his valley experience. So whatever the experience it is that you may be experiencing in your own life, understand that you're not the only one that's going through. Maybe it was all those transgenders that lost their lives because somebody didn't understand who they were. But did nobody ever think about was that was somebody's son, that was somebody's daughter? Maybe that was their valley experience. But what I'm saying is that this walk is not easy. It is a different day. And I'm reminded of the story of Paul and how he was inflicted with a thorn in his flesh. And 3 times did he ask for that thorn to be removed, but God said no. And it doesn't mean because we don't always get the answers that we desire in life, it does not mean that we still won't go through. It's because as long as we're living life, and as long as we're living life, and as long as we're living life, and as long as we're living life, we will go through things. But that does not say that sin is the reason why we're going through what we're going through. Some things just naturally happen. It's because if I get cancer in my body, that does not mean I'm going to die. It just means that I have gotten sick in my body, and the prognosis says that, oh, well, maybe you have 3 days to live. Maybe you have 6 months to live. Maybe you even have a year to live. But whatever the case is that we have to learn to live life according to the way that we know how to live life and understand that these valley experiences come to teach us. They come to make us strong. They come to teach us some things. They come to take us and help us to teach somebody else, to help them to see what they need to do in order for them to get to the next level of their lives. Valley experiences Have you had any? Well, just keep living. It's because when I look at a valley experience, I'm oftentimes reminded of how sometimes we're so familiar and we're so accustomed to believing everything everybody tells us, but we don't want to go do any research. We don't want to go do any reading on our own. And I believe that the Bible says that the men perish for a lack of knowledge. We choose the words that we want to choose. We say the things that we want to say so it fits the description of the way we want to live our lives, but we count everybody else out and we don't look at the fact that they went through something too. They may have been on the mountaintop, but sometimes they had to go to the valley low. And sometimes when you have to go to the mountaintop and then you have to drop to the valley low, it does not mean that you did anything that was so great and something that was so bad, but sometimes you just have to go through. That's a part of the process. And the one thing that I learned in this life is that sometimes you have to go through a process. But what somebody taught me is that the processes that you go through, you must understand your process. Stay in your lane. Stop trying to be worried about what somebody else is doing on the left, what somebody else is doing on the right, because when you start focusing on what everybody else is doing, you lose focus on yourself. Valley experiences. And I began to think even further. Is that there's another quote that Nelson Mandela said that there's no easy way to walk from freedom anywhere. And many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. So see, sometimes you're still going to have to go through. You may not like it. You may not want to deal with it, but sometimes life is going to happen. You may not want it to happen. It may not turn out the way that you want it to turn out to, but it does not say that life for you is over. It just means that you ran into a bump in the road, or maybe some people maybe want to call it a stumbling block. Let that stumbling block become a stepping stone to help you to realize is that this may be my valley experience, but this does not define who I will be and who I will continue to be as long as I'm moving forward and living the life that I have been destined to live. So sometimes you need these valley experiences, because I will tell you that my valley experiences, they made me who I am. They're making me who I am, and I am so grateful and I am so thankful to God for every valley experience that I had. Every person that I encounter on this journey, every addiction, every sickness, everything I am grateful is because those valley experiences, they teach you some things. They teach you some things that you maybe don't want in your life someday. They may teach you some things that you thought you knew that you really didn't know until you went into the valley and you had to be there and you had to stay for a little while. But it's all right. It's because you can smile again. So don't ever look at your valley experiences as always a bad thing. Sometimes they can be a very good thing. But we've been so accustomed to believe what we believe that we think that it's a bad thing. And the gospel artist John P. Key entitled a song, one of my favorite songs, Lily of the Valley. And I remember one part of that song, he said in this life, everybody shall have a valley experience. Then he said somebody might find some peace in the valley. Somebody might find some love in the valley. Somebody might find some hope in the valley. Somebody might even find some deliverance in the valley. And the one thing that I feel like that sometimes you might find in the valley, sometimes you might find yourself lost in the valley trying to get home. You may find yourself in the valley one day. But it doesn't mean that you landed in the valley because you had did something so wrong. Sometimes you need to go to the valley is because you need some of that rich soil. Sometimes you need some of that rich vegetation is because you need to be around something else. So my question to you is that what did you find in the valley? Did you find yourself? And I close in using a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King says is that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort or convenience, but it's where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. So what is your valley? Have you had a valley experience? Again, I ask, what is your valley experience? Thank you.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open. Yes, I'm only here for God. No.